Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast, the world's leading authority on childcare marketing, mindset, expansion, and profitability. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Childcare Genius Marketing. Let Childcare Genius Marketing help you get fully enrolled and fully staffed. Visit childcaregenius.com for more details. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast our hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Hi, welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast.
We're your hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre. Thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited. This is going to be a great episode. We've got 2 of my favorite people on as guests today. We're going to be sharing with them. Before we get started, just a reminder that we have tickets remaining for our Financial Leverage Conference in Mexico, Riviera Maya, Mexico. And it is our leverage conference that we've decided to do most of our topics, or all of our topics, are going to be financial related, have something to do with increasing enrollment, full of staffing, marketing, anything to do with increasing your bottom line, increasing profitability. You know, going to make more money in 25 into 26. So go to childcaregenius.com, go to our conference tab, and you can find all information. We've got a video about the resort in there, a little bit of information in it. It's a beautiful 5-star resort, all inclusive and cheaper than going to any major American hotel in a major American city. And that includes food and drinks too. So it's a really good deal. So check that out. And we've got a great guest today who really have taken, we've been coaching them since the beginning of our coaching program 3 years ago. And they have grown from 1 school to 3 schools while we've coached them. Their income has skyrocketed. Their profitability has gone through the roof, and they've done really, really well. They've struggled along the way, as most people do, but boy, they got it really dialed in now, and we're proud to coach them. So I can't wait to hear this episode.
Let's get Noah and Jennifer on the line.
Hi, Noah and Jen. Welcome to the Childcare Genius Podcast. How are you guys today?
I'm doing well.
Doing good. Thank you for asking.
So good to see you. Where are you guys calling in from? Where are you guys located at?
East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
Up in the Pocono area. For those of you listening, I've been to their schools, and it's a really nice area of Pennsylvania. Actually, very beautiful up there in the mountainous area, and probably pretty warm up there this time of year. Right? Getting summer's kicking in, huh?
Today it is. It feels like 110 today.
Oh,
it's
fine.
We
get that tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're in the 90s tomorrow, and that's hot in Maine.
Yeah.
And well, now we know what all the Southern folk deal with on a regular basis, right? The 100 days of 100 degrees.
They can have
They could have it.
Because
it doesn't bother me. I don't know. I'd rather have this than the snow. I don't like the cold.
Yeah, I might be with you on that.
Yeah.
As long as you have air conditioning.
you guys get more snow than we do.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
Yeah. So we have more reasons to move south.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes. Well, we've had you on the podcast before, but a lot has changed. You guys are really rocking it now. So we wanted to get you on. But for those of you who don't know you, why don't you guys give us your background and what your life was like before you started in childcare business? No one, you might want to talk about, you actually have a full-time job, so you could talk a little bit about what you do. Like you're not full-time in the childcare business, but you could talk about what you guys do.
Sure. Yeah, so I am a nurse practitioner full-time. I work in cardiology, and I have a couple other businesses that I've started, 15 in total, and I've got like 3 or 4 that are still running right now, including the daycare. So Jen had the daycare experience. Really, I had some business experience, and so her working in childcare for a long time really led me to kind of say, hey, listen, you probably make a lot more money and be a lot happier working for herself. And that's what led her into doing that. So, you know, I have a car detailing company, and I have an ATM business, and I have some other things that I do, which take up some of my time. But I do a lot of the back end work for her on the daycare. She's running the, day-to-day operations and overseeing the directors, and I'm just looking at numbers and doing other things like that in the background. But I'll let her tell you more about the day-to-day stuff, because that's really where she excels and what she spends most of her time doing.
Sure. So my degree is actually in elementary education. And when I had graduated college, there was absolutely no jobs. So that's when I started working at a daycare. And owning my own daycare was always a dream. It was a far, far dream, because I didn't think I was ever going to be able to do it, because it was a lot of work. And then when COVID happened, he told me, I'll look for a daycare. And I was like, all right, I'm going to look for a daycare. He didn't think I was serious, but I did it anyways. And I found one, and I was like, let's do this. And he agreed, and here we are. But I worked at a daycare for 10 years prior to owning my own. And honestly, it was, why am I working for somebody else when I can do this myself and I can have a lot more free time? And it was a big leap, and it was scary, and I did it, and I'm glad I did it, because we've made it so far. So
Awesome. Well, great story.
Yeah.
Love how you got in there, and I love that determination. And you found one pretty quick, right? Once you gave it a little bit of a green light, you jumped right on it, didn't you?
I mean, I was so sure she wasn't going to be serious about doing it. I didn't get funding. I didn't put anything together. I said, yeah, go find one. And if you find one you like, we'll put an offer on it. And I was like, she's not going to find anything. And even if she does, she's not going to like it. Because I knew she was very, picky about what she wanted and what she was looking for. But yeah, within about a week of me saying that, she found one, met the owners. The owners loved her, wanted her to have it. And she's like, I want to buy it. So I had to very quickly come up with a lot of money that I didn't.
You did it.
You had to put your money where your mouth was.
Right.
Yeah, we got it together. We made it happen. So
As a husband, we got to be careful what we promise, right, Noah?
we delivered, though. We made it happen. So
All right, you did really good. You definitely pivoted to a different direction in your life, and a good direction.
yeah.
Tell our audience about your childcare centers and why they're different from other centers in your area.
So I'll take this question. So like we said earlier, we're from Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania has a quality rating system. It's a STAR system. And both of my centers that we've had for quite some time are STAR 4. So it's the highest you can get. We just opened our third. So we will be working on that as well. But I do have a state-funded program that I am one of 3 entities in the whole county. So a lot of people do come to me. They seek us out the majority of the time, because we do offer that program, and it allows families who are underprivileged to get childcare for free. And it's a way for us to kind of give back to the community as well, because I know I love the program, and it really makes me feel good as an owner that I can help these children come in, because we all know how important it is for these children at this age to get an education and to get them ready for kindergarten. So that is the biggest thing I think that helps us stand out in our area. I don't know if you have anything.
I've been to your schools, and I can attest a nice quality system that you have. It's really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Something else that I think is a big thing too is a lot of centers focus on the childcare, which is important. That's what you do. But we put a big emphasis on our teachers as well too, and making sure that they have the tools and resources that they need. Trying to do benefits and things like that, which a lot of other centers in the area don't do. Paid time off, retirement savings, things like that. There's a lot of centers in our area they just don't do that at all in any capacity. And so every year or so, we've been adding an additional benefit or two for them. So that's another thing that helps us stand out as well.
Yeah, if you take care of people, we'll take care of you. That's a good analogy. I love that. I remember when I first started coaching you both, almost 3 years ago. You had one school, and you were thinking of expanding to a second school. And I think that's why you called me, Noah. You're like, I got this school I'm thinking about opening. Can we look at the numbers together? And I remember us looking at it, and it wasn't a good deal. Can you tell us about that story?
Well, so I think there were 2 schools that we had looked at, but the one, it was a building that was for sale. And the building itself was a great deal, but in looking at how much money it would have cost to actually build it out and do everything that we needed to do, We ended up losing, I think, about $35,000 on the deal trying to purchase the property.
Mm-hmm.
We did recover some of that back, but looking back, we would have probably lost several $100,000 into that building. I don't know that we would have gotten it back. And so I remember, backing out of that deal, getting some of our deposit back, and then looking for another school after that. And I'm glad that we did wait, and I'm glad we did take your advice, because we were able to find an excellent deal. We were able to purchase a property and a business for about $340,000. The property alone was worth that. And in reality, the business itself was only about $9,000. It was an estate sale, and nobody really wanted it, knew how to run it. So we were able to basically assume that school for the purchase price of the property, which was excellent.
So it's funny, when one door closes, another one opens up. And I remember telling you that this wasn't a good deal. And I knew it would cost you more in the long run. And sometimes in coaching, you got to tell people tough things. But you've always been a listener. And I really appreciate that about you, both of you. Like, you absorb it like a sponge, and you listen. And now you're just getting ready to open a third school, and things are really changed for you significantly. You already just opened a third school.
Yeah.
Things are a lot different than we first met 3 years ago. That's for sure.
Big time, yeah.
You're parents of small children and you own multiple businesses. How do you juggle everything?
So I think owning a business is the best part about this, because I can make my own schedule, which is really great. Like I said, I worked at a daycare prior to this for 10 years, and I had the worst schedule ever. I was 9:30 to 6:30, and I had 2 kids. And it was mayhem. It's hard to make appointments and extracurriculars and all that kind of stuff. Now, I kind of wake up, I can get my kids on the bus, I leave early, I coach, our kids do, extracurriculars. So we're able to be there for them. So I think it makes it easier having my own business. One thing I learned that Brian kind of told me over and over again was how important it is to delegate tasks. And it took me a long time to do that. But now that I can, and I rely on other people because I trust them, I can do that. But we can leave early. I mean, I can, but so it makes it easier. So I am able to be there for my kids. I can be there for, all the important things that they're going through. Like our son just graduated kindergarten, and, all the good stuff. So I can be there. So I think it's made it easier.
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, I think for me, it's a little bit more challenging because I still have a job. But because of the nature of my work, it's very flexible. So there's a lot of times when I'm able to leave early. I'm able to flex my hours. I have a lot of time off. I'm off 3 days this week, for example. And as far as the other businesses go, like Jen said, delegating is really important. So we have all of our roles really well delineated. So I do most of the back end work for the detailing company and for the ATMs. And, I have guys that are out and doing a lot of the legwork from day to day. So I'm just very organized with my schedule. So if you looked at my calendar, it's blocked out in, 15-minute chunks at a time. That's really what keeps me organized with everything. But, while it was a challenge in the beginning, getting the system in place, once it's there, I mean, it's pretty much, on autopilot now. There's a lot of things and systems in place that keep things organized.
And I love how you're saying this, because people are listening here and they're like, I have one school and I'm working 50 hours a week at the school. How would I ever do 2 or 3? How would I ever open another business? Because you just gave the secret: delegation.
Mm-hmm.
And once you learn how to delegate, you could scale your business to 100 locations and your work doesn't increase, right? Because you have people that can rely on it. So that's the power of duplication. And your income goes up and your stress doesn't change at all, and the workload doesn't change, and you keep going like that. So I'm glad you guys have listened to what we teach. So I'm going to focus the next question on you, Jennifer. I'm going to pick on you a little bit. So when we first met, it was hard for you to wrap around opening a second school. I remember you were so devoted to that first school. And when your second school opened, it was hard. I can remember many calls where I didn't see you smile for, I think, 3 or 4 months. You were in rough shape. It was hard opening a second school. Now, what's the difference between opening your second school and your third school? Because I often say the second one's the hardest. So tell me, am I telling the truth?
I just want to say that I think it was more than 3 to 4 months, because it was stressful. I think what really helped me was, I mean, I was listening to your advice through all of it, but it was really difficult. Kind of reiterate what Noah was saying a little bit earlier. The center that we took over was a little bit of a rough. It was in rough shape as far as the low enrollment that was there, the teachers that were there, the person who was in charge didn't really have a grasp of what they were doing. So yeah, it was extremely stressful, and I cried daily. And I don't know how I got through it with your help and everybody else's help around me. But really going from that second school to third school, although I think it was harder because we started from scratch, as far as the building itself and getting children enrolled and starting that process a lot earlier, it was so much easier. Like you said, oh my gosh, I don't think I cried once. I just kind of went with it. I had other people helping me, the delegation. Okay, you're going to be in charge of this. I'm going to be doing this. And having those processes in place already and our procedures, it was smooth sailing. And you were 100% right. That second school was hard. It was so hard. This one it was a long process, but it was so much easier. And I can't thank you enough, because I don't think I did not want to let go of that first school. I was so happy there. I loved it. I thought that was a lot of work until I opened up the second one, and I was like, my work is going to double. There is no way I'm going to be able to do this. And I did feel like that for a long time because I was doing it until I learned to let go.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes me 6 months, sometimes it takes me 2 years to get a client to let go. Took you, I think, probably a little over a year, maybe 15 months. Not that it's just because of your love for your school. And that the more you love your school, the harder it is to let go. And it's admirable, your passion for the kids. You just love them.
I was stuck in a mindset that, if you want to get something done, you got to do it yourself. And that was where my mind was. And that is so not true. Because I would not have goals right now.
It changes everything once you can let go.
Yeah. Once you can trust your people.
Yes.
Yeah. And knowing that you're not going to do it. Some things won't get as good as you, but some things will be much better than the way you do it. Sometimes they are better than you in some areas. So you got to trust them and see where their talents lie.
Now, Noah, you have a full-time job and you own another business. How do you handle all those responsibilities and still find time to help Jennifer with the growth of your childcare business?
Yeah, just going back to what I said before about being very mindful of my time. I think a lot of people waste a lot of time. There's 24 hours in a day, and it's really amazing what you can do when you just block out 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time and just do one really specific thing. For example, I had a bunch of invoices that I had to do today, and they've been due for a week. I had to get them done. I had to get them sent out. But I was doing a million different things. Well, I blocked out, 10 minutes today to get them done. I was done in like 7.5 minutes. I was done. 3 weeks worth of invoices basically done, sent out, and closed out. And I used the rest of the time to, reschedule some appointments. So that's the key for me, is making sure that specific tasks for specific things are blocked out. I work on that. I finish it. Or if it's something that can get delayed, I'll take a break and I'll move on to something else. But I really, delineate that out. And so every week, I'm looking at the daycare numbers. I'm looking at, what's our enrollment like? What's our revenue for the week? What is our bank account at? It doesn't take long, 15, 20 minutes. I take a look at everything. If something, is off, I go to that person, right? So again, having those people to delegate to. So I know who's responsible for different tasks. So if I say, hey, we're really low in enrollment in, pre-K2 at Scott Run, I can shoot a quick text to the director over there and she'll get back to me later. That's it. I don't have to do anything else for that. Same thing for the detailing. If I say, hey, so-and-so rescheduled the detail, I send it out to the person that was in charge of it. They let me know when they want to reschedule. I add it to the calendar. So these things, are only taking me 15, 20, 30 minutes at a time to do. I'm sending them out to the, the appropriate delegated person to do it. And then they get back to me. And so once that system's in place, I could probably run 10 or 20 businesses doing this, this way. I have a lot of free time to, I like to golf, and I've been, doing that this year. And I've probably golfed and, taken more free time this year than I've done in the past 2 years combined, primarily because I got more organized with my time, and I'm able to, put certain people in place to handle certain tasks. And so I know if something isn't right in this one area, I can direct it to that one person, and I know they're going to take care of it. And if they can't, then they'll get back to me. But just having those really tight systems in place and having a really organized schedule has been really key for doing that.
Awesome. Great advice, Noah. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
So what advice would you give someone who's thinking of opening their first childcare center?
Oh man, research the area, know your state regulations, find a coach, Brian and Carol, for real, because you guys have been a blessing to us. The advice that has been given to us and that has helped us. For example, when we were looking for that second location, I know we spoke about the one deal, but we went through 2 deals during that time. And who knows what would have happened with that second one. But we lost a lot of money, but it could have been worse. So definitely, like you said, finding a coach and doing your research. I know you have given us, you've talked about the desert areas. That was huge when we were looking for our 3rd location to see actually who needs daycare. So just knowing where you are and what you're doing, and knowing everything about your state as well, because daycare is hard.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. As far as the research, that's super important. Like, find out, does my area even need childcare? If they do, great, then you can look at doing it there. But if not, is there an area close by that needs it? So that's where I would start is there even a need? And what are the rules and regulations? Because there's some areas where they make it really hard to make money. So finding out, is there a need, and how difficult is it going to be to open? Would be my first 2 things. And from there, once you decide, like, okay, it's viable, I can do this, finding someone to help, find someone that's already done it. So again, for us, that was finding somebody to coach us and help us through that process. Maybe it's another childcare center in your area or somebody that you meet online, but find somebody that's already done it, and ideally in your area, so that they can help you with that process, because there's so many different moving parts. And you could have an amazing business background. Like I could have, from like a business standpoint, I probably could have opened a daycare, but there's so many rules and regulations that I would have had no idea. I would have been, delayed for months, if not a year or more, because there's so many things that I just wouldn't have known and wouldn't have looked at. And so that's where she came in, because I was like, hey, let's just do this. And she's like, nope, can't do that. Like, let's do this. Nope, you can't do that. And so had I done all these things on my own without any input from her, it would have been an absolute disaster. So yeah, you have to know your rules and regulations, and you also have to know numbers too. So finding somebody that knows the number side of things, finding somebody that knows the actual childcare regulation side of things, you need to have that in place, or you're not going to be able to get the thing off the ground in the first place.
I just thought of one final question. So you guys work really good as a team. One of the best teams I've seen for somebody that, a lot of times that we work with couples that are full-time in the business. You guys, you're not full-time. No, you work outside it, but how do you get along so well as a team working together when you're not always together?
Well, we don't always, but when we do, and again, I do think we work as a team as well, though we do work as a good team. But for me, it's a matter of just staying in communication with her, because she knows what's going on all the time, and I don't. So we check in on the business daily throughout the day. We try not to do it after hours, just because we want to have, personal time and time to relax. But when I'm at work on my lunch break, or I'll, block out a little bit of time, I'll check with her and see if there's anything that's going on. And then we also do a weekly meeting that I'm a part of. So it's all the directors and Jen and myself. And so I get filled in there as far as any major things that are going on. Small day-to-day stuff, she just kind of fills me in throughout the day. And I do the same thing. So when I'm running the numbers, I'll just kind of let her know, hey, listen, like, we're running low in this particular area, or hey, our payroll's, $5,000 more this month than it was last month. What's going on? And, so we just kind of do those little check-ins. So we have our own defined roles. And then I just kind of, something's off, by any particular margin, I just let her know, and, and she looks into it, and we kind of figure it out from there. But it's really the roles, I think, is just sort of defining who's doing what, and then picking a specific time to check in. And, that's been very helpful.
Staying in our own lanes.
Yeah.
But I would say I think the communication is key more than anything. And like I said, we try and do that throughout the day. He'll try and talk to me after I get home, and I'm like, "Don't talk to me about this right now. This is our time. We'll talk about this tomorrow, because otherwise we would never have any time for our personal lives and our children." So we try and do that. It doesn't always happen, but we try and do that as much as possible.
Yeah.
Work-life balance, very important.
Yeah. And I think for me also, like, just understanding that there's certain things that, like, it's not even worth arguing about or fighting about, because I like to know what's going on. I want to know, like, why are we doing certain things a certain way? And sometimes she's just like, well, this is what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, like, I may not like it all the time, but if it's working and it's not creating a real problem, a lot of times I've just learned to just let certain things go and just kind of write it out. So.
Yeah, it's great advice, Noah. Let her do what she wants to do, because she's doing a good job.
She is.
Leave the. If you need her straightened out, I can do that. All right, that's my job. All right, just kidding. I will work on Jen. You guys work on having a great relationship.
So when Brian tells you say something, say, is it coming from Noah?
She'll know.
But Jen calls me too and says Noah needs to straighten up on this thing. So it works both ways, right? I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. Right? You know, I'm kidding, right?
You did miss that last call.
What did I did, yeah.
You guys are one of my favorite people to work with, and you're absolutely fantastic. And I love that you're smiling now, Jen. I got 6 months of smiles now, and you living your best life makes us live our best life, because we love that. So I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy life, away from your children, away from your centers, to spend some time with our followers. You'll probably have a million followers gained on Instagram from coming on our podcast. So you're going to be famous now. The whole childcare world is going to follow you and know that that your amazing school in Pennsylvania is just awesome. And thank you for taking time to share your story with our millions of listeners and followers.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah, thanks for having us on the show.
Oh, we just love it. Have a good day.
Yep.
Great interview.
Great interview.
Good couple. And that third school, again, such a difference from that second school. But the second school they bought existing, and the third school they started from scratch. So, it all depends on what type of school. Sometimes when you inherit another school and buy another school, you could buy a lot of headaches with it. And there are challenges with that. Sometimes there are advantages, sometimes there are disadvantages. And that's with any type of school that you do.
Right.
Thankfully, I was able to coach her through it, and she worked hard on her own and figured that second school out. And then the third school, that was a piece of cake. We coasted through that. And not to say there wouldn't be challenges in the future, but the school is close to half full after a month and doing really well.
She did her research to know where.
Her and I spent a lot of time doing our homework, and we knew exactly where we wanted to put one based on market research.
Yeah.
And we can help you with that. If you're looking to open a school, if you're looking to grow your program, we can help you with that. We can coach you to greatness, as we've done with Jennifer and Noah and hundreds of other people as well. So if you'd like a free coaching call, if you're a center owner now, or you want to open a school and you want to do a free coaching call, get on our calendar. Go ahead and go to childcaregenius.com under the coaching tab, select the I'd like a free coaching call, and answer a couple questions, and we'll be happy to give you a free coaching call. Be somebody on my team. And if we have any specific questions, you can email me directly, Brian, BRIAN, @childcaregenius.com. And we'd be happy to help you. So this concludes this episode of the Child Care Genius podcast. Thank you for taking time out of your busy life to spend a little time with us.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Child Care Genius podcast. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Child Care Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Child Care Genius community.